Welcome to the Local Marketing Source Weekly Update, brought to you by localmarketingsource.com.
This week's Local Marketing Update is brought to you by Scott Gallagher. Scott is the co-founder of Local Marketing Source and has become the recognized expert in providing online marketing services to local businesses. Follow Scott on Twitter at ScottGallagher5 and on Facebook.com/ScottPGallagher.
Well, hi everyone. Scott Gallagher here with Local Marketing Source, and this is our weekly local marketing industry update. Now, next week's LMS member call is going to be Wednesday, July 30th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And next week's going to be an interesting call because I am traveling international borders. I'm going to be on an island in Canada with no running water and no power. Well, you ask, how are you going to run a full production with a camera and stream on the internet and whatnot? We do run off of satellite, and we've got solar to power up our laptops and whatnot. And there is a windmill there as well, so it's kind of cool. I'm going to be on a beach, and yeah, we've got Wi-Fi right onto the beach. It's just fantastic, so I'm looking forward to it. But nonetheless, that's going to be next week's member call. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as our weekly podcast. Now, before I get going and just talking about the weekly update overview, just a couple of housekeeping items. And I want to remind all LMS students to make arrangements for your free 30-minute consultation with me once you get your membership. I was just having a discussion with a student this morning about it, and the feedback I get from students is just unbelievable. It really jazzes me up, and it really makes me happy because I really feel like that there's value being added to people that take advantage of this. But what was interesting was that she had mentioned, she says, I didn't even know that I had this as an option as a student until I heard it last week on a call. And I am just starting to realize something at Local Marketing Source. This was a last-minute bonus that was added to a promotion 3 months ago. And I decided to keep it as a bonus for the following promotion. We got good feedback, but very few students took advantage of it. Well, we take responsibility at Local Marketing Source for making this mistake. And well, I don't know if it's a mistake or a learning process, but now it is becoming a standard piece of the membership. It's something that's, we could say, compulsory or mandatory. I can't say mandatory. We can't force individuals, but it's a piece of the program because of the value that's added in it. So anybody that is not taking advantage of that, even if you've been around for a couple of months, take the time. We'll talk on the phone for 30 minutes. I ask you a bunch of questions. And I've got some experience, not just with myself, building and running this agency, but I've seen the stories of many Local Marketing Source students and with what they've done and shared that information to get you going. And sometimes you just need a little bit of that clarity. So please, guys, if you're an LMS student listening and have not taken advantage of your free 30-minute consulting call with me, send me an email to scottg@localmarketingsource.com, and we will make arrangements. Do understand that I am on vacation for the next 2 weeks. My only work obligation is the Local Marketing Source calls and, of course, the Facebook group from time to time. But on that note, this week we have a couple of things to talk about. I'm going to introduce a new topic called press requests. These are not press releases, but it is in regards to that. And I was just having a discussion with my project manager today about article marketing and how the SEO industry says, oh, article marketing is dead. And, you know what I say to that. That's just so bullshit. Article marketing is not dead. Article marketing will never die. And article marketing will unquestionably be one of the best strategies for your local SEO strategy for your local business. I'll get into some of that a little bit later. The second thing we're going to talk about is Hummingbird and how Well, right now I will call Hummingbird a algorithm update, but how this algorithm update has made an impact on search for the last 10 months. And finally, this week's tip, well, in conjunction with press requests, we're also going to talk about press releases for small businesses. Now, if anybody's got any questions, just go ahead, type your questions into the question box. I see there's quite a few different people that are talking already. I will get to some of these questions at the end, or you can always raise your hand, and I will answer questions for those that have their hand raised first. You can see I'm already getting an email from a student to schedule their one-on-one. Well, that's good, Nick. We'll get that scheduled. All right, so press requests and how press requests can be a gold mine. Well, press for what? You may have heard of press releases, and I just told you that article marketing is not dead. You know, there was a time in SEO I would pay somebody in India or overseas $2 or $3 or $4 to write a 300 or 400 word article. We were paying 1 cent a word. We would give them a keyword courier service and ask them to write an article on that. We'd pay $4 for that article. We'd then take that article, give it to some automated software, and that software would send that article out to 100 different article sites and publish it with anchor text to the destination money site. One article gave us 100 links. We would take that article and rewrite them. We always chose to have a human being rewrite the article, but we'd rewrite the article 5 times. You could take that same article and put it in the software and have it rewritten. That's called spinning software. For every article, if you get 100 links, 5 articles, or 5 versions of the same article, you get 500, a total of 500 links. For $4, you can get 500 links. I could sneeze at getting 20 and 30,000 links to a business. But as we know, with Panda and Penguin, we've seen a lot of these networks be abolished. It doesn't surprise me, however, and even on my own mastermind group, there's a colleague of mine that is so sophisticated in creating these link networks out of different countries that appear to be housed on US computers with proxies, and gets his clients ranked fictitiously. So this is article marketing in 2 completely different versions. Well, 3 different versions. The 3rd version is what is being discussed as dead. The 2 other versions still exist today. Now, with great congratulations to one of my project managers, not only did he accomplish of getting a press release published by a local newspaper for the local business, but there was enough information and enough of a story with the client that an article is being written by and for that business. Well, what did it take to do that? And here we are, we're talking about 2 links now, not 500 links from the original piece of content. I would take those 2 links, I would take the 1 link just with the press release all day long over the 500. Why? Because of authority. We know that SEO is built on trust and authority. Well, there's the local newspaper. They've got a website. Their content is shared. Their content is viewed and read a lot. They're busy. They may be an authoritative source of information and news for all the locals in that area. Well, the search engines have done what they do and give that content authority. In other words, the fact that the local newspaper is publishing content for this local client, that local newspaper has a significantly larger portion of trust from Google than article sites that are out there that just house thousands and thousands of pieces of content. And why? Well, it's fundamental marketing principles, guys. If you're not a marketer, you're not going to understand this. If you're an SEO expert, you're not going to understand this. If you're a marketer, you'll completely understand it. That these article sites, they were destined to fail from the get-go. Think about target audience. Think about segmentation for a moment while I take a drink of my water here. You got these article sites that would accept any piece of content, every piece of content on a variety of different subjects. Where's the targeting? How are they going to attract an audience if they're not targeting an audience? They're just throwing mud at the wall and hopefully some will stick. I mean, we know that in marketing, we've got to segment our audience. We don't segment our audience, we can't create the material that's going to resonate with that audience. In other words, they didn't get people reading those articles. So why would a search engine give any value to them? They don't. They're useless. That's why article marketing is considered dead. So be careful. Now, what press requests are is different sites that exist on the internet that journalists and bloggers go to get top stories. So you become a source of information. And you'd be surprised at what types of information can get exposed and built up. I have a client that I've had for 5 years or 6 years, let's say 5 years. He owns 2 different businesses. Both businesses have been clients of mine for SEO, web development, and different marketing initiatives. This client is a business that's 90 years old, and it's owned by a female. Plain and simple, that's it. Nothing has ever been focused in on that. And we approached the client and said, well, wait a minute. You are operating in the second oldest industry in the world. You were telling me that it is owned by a individual that's over 100 years old. The business has been around for 90 years in the family. It's quite possible that this is the oldest taxi service company in the United States that's owned by the biggest minority in the United States, being females. Well, guess what? That's national exposure. So you could really identify there are stories, I call them feel-good stories, inside of businesses that a community would want to consume, and accomplishments that that business may have achieved. And that's content that's newsworthy. And this is content that is likely going to be found on a variety of these different sites out there. An example of one of these sites is going to be, get your pen and paper out, it's called Source Bottle. That's a free site where you can sign up and you can be a source and request information. I would make a suggestion that you move forward and try to get 2 or 3 pieces of content in there every quarter per client. You get this exposure, guys, it's gold. These links are gold. I'm going to go ahead and put a link into the, I got to find the link. I'm going to put it into the GoToWebinar software for you guys to click on. Anybody that's listening to the recording will not be able to get this link. Okay. And I'd like you guys to read that article and get an understanding for it. There's some really good information about press requests, and move forward with some of that. Finally, how Hummingbird. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Hummingbird. And as you know, there's been many changes, some big changes in the algorithm in the last 3 years with Google. We've seen Panda and Penguin. And about 10 months ago, in the middle of September, we saw a release of Hummingbird. And it was released on Google's 15th anniversary. Little did we know at the time, and this was just announced a short while ago, was Hummingbird was actually implemented 30 days before then. It was just their announcement on their anniversary of their birthday. And if you think, what is a hummingbird? A hummingbird moves very, very fast and around and quickly and up and down, and gets to where it needs to go real quick. And that was the idea. And Google at the time said, well, Hummingbird is just going to make everything faster. Okay, great. Well, Google has now come out and specifically defined what Hummingbird was. And Hummingbird, understand that, influenced more of the search rankings than any of the other updates. It was their biggest update since Google opened up in 1996 with their first algorithm. So what is Hummingbird? Hummingbird is a platform. Now, I gotta use a couple of analogies. Okay, let's think of a car for a moment here, and an engine. And the car itself is all of Google. There's all different components. Some of the components don't help make it drive, but they help make the vehicle run and run a little bit more smoothly. But the engine is what powers the car, just like how Google's search engine is what powers Google. And so their search engine being the engine itself. Well, on that engine, we can make modifications to it. We can change out the oil filter and put in a better oil filter. We can change spark plugs and put high performance spark plugs. And there's all these different components and whatnot that we can change out and make improvements. Well, you got to think of the algorithm updates like Panda and Penguin as these plugins that they're putting into the engine to improve that engine, different filter and whatnot. But Hummingbird is actually the engine itself. And the engine itself won't run without any of the plugins, but you need that engine. And if you think about it, what Google did is they started out with an algorithm, and then they added more parameters that they would look at, and they kept adding to that code. And they did that for 15 years. And at some point in time, everything was just so complex because they were just pieces of each other. Well, now they have a platform, and Hummingbird is kind of like the operating system for Google. Everything else plugs into it, and it just makes their infrastructure much stronger for the future. So I thought I'd give a little bit of clarity in understanding that, because you hear about the Hummingbird algorithm update. Hummingbird is not an algorithm update. It's a platform update, and it's a big difference. All right, so on that note, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this call. And in about 30 seconds, I see we've got quite a few more people on the line than when we started. I'm really, really happy with the attendance rate. I'm going to be getting up last week's call. I do encourage you, if you did not make last week's call, get in on it. We had some really good dialogue and discussions of conversations. But I will be back in 30 seconds to answer your questions. All right. Thanks, guys. All right, guys, I'm back. I'm just going through the box here. And yeah, Ken, good. I'm glad you're here. I hope you've enjoyed the call so far. Tisha says, you guys are very brave. What was that all about, Tisha? We're very brave. Brian. Oh, just saying hello. Hey, Brian. The Wahoo. Brian's the wahoo. Okay. This is where I feel like I need like one of those, you know, like a little radio show, and then they have, you know, the sound effects and the good clapping, because we all need to have a good cheer. And congratulations to Brian. He says, got a huge client today because of a local marketing source. That's freaking awesome. That's amazing. Good stuff. Yeah, Brian says, correction, Scott. Article marketing is evolving, not dead. No, that's not true, Brian. Article marketing is not evolving. They say article marketing is dead because of the quote unquote the old SEO way of doing it. Well, that's not the old SEO way of doing it. That has always been the wrong way of doing it, plain and simple. Article marketing in its form that's effective on the internet today worked 30 years ago. Don't you guys notice that the strategies that you do to rank a business properly on the internet, without the internet, there's still strategies that were being done in business? Everything that we do would benefit my client if search engines did not exist. Now, Brian, I am more the anomaly when I make these claims about article marketing and whatnot. And more people will disagree with me than agree with me in the SEO community. Brian says he uses press releases all the time. Those they're great. Ed, Scott, how does the local paper connect with Google for articles? Do all articles in the paper make it to Google? They publish it online, yeah. That's what you're looking for, is a citation. Tish is asking, source follow. Curlin, can you put the link on Facebook? I can't click it or copy it. Okay. I spoke to Curlin this morning. She seems to be a very... I can't type and talk. I should be showing my screen so you guys can at least see that I'm doing something. I apologize. Well, it's posted now, Curlin. I thought I'd get it done. But yeah, I spoke with Curlin, and very impressive woman. And I'm really excited to have her a part of Local Marketing Source. And she's, you know, going to school, getting her master's. Has got some military experience. Has not gotten her first client yet, and is ready to go and targeting a specific industry in SoCal. And so everybody, you know, give her your encouragement. We know that she can do it, and just some of the advice that I want to share with everybody that I shared with her is it's very common advice, and you know, I myself run into it very, very frequently. And I have to admit that I'm almost on the verge of concluding I have a 2-year failure. Imagine working on something that you believed in so strongly and so wholeheartedly, and you kept trying, and it's not working the way you thought it would have worked. And I've been trying to create a fully automated lead generation system utilizing very high-end autoresponders with tremendous value, paid advertisement to get in, webinars to build reputation, sending out published books, printed public books. And at the end of the day, the number one way to get clients is being face-to-face, guys. I just watched a show last night, a science show on Discovery Channel, and it was, you know, they talked about the different ways to influence human behavior. And I don't care where you're coming from or what you're looking at it. We're really stuck with only 3 tools that we can influence behavior. And that's the words we say. That's our tone, how we say it. And that's our physiology. And no matter how you spin it or you look at it, physiology is your strongest tool. And you're only going to accomplish that with a face-to-face meeting. So don't forget, as they said in Boiler Room, pick up your skirt, grab your balls, and get out and make the calls. I like that movie. It's a good sales movie. But the fact of the matter is you've got to get out there. And I just want to remind you guys, everybody that's starting out, relatively new and whatnot, you are not a business owner. You do not have a business until you have a paying client that's profitable. You've got to get the clients. That is the most important thing. Everything else is secondary. Your website, your business cards, your clothes. Yeah, Tisha's giving congratulations. Ken's giving congratulations to Brian. That's good. You're welcome, Curlin. Yeah, Nick's saying, you only have a business when it works, when you don't. Well, that's true, right? Otherwise, you're just self-employed. Let's face it. If you can't walk away from your business for 3 months and have your business pretty much status quo when you return, it's not a business. You're self-employed, and there's a big difference between a business. It's the whole concept of an entrepreneur, working on your business or in your business. And yeah, I could choose to work in my business, but I don't, because I'll grow it by working on it. All right. Any more questions? Didn't check to see if we had any hands up. No hands. Nobody likes to talk. Well, that's not true. We had some talkers last week. I really like it when people talk. Any more questions? Oh, we do. Scott, how do we debunk that the local marketing business is not oversaturated? I've seen a lot of stuff in various communities that says it is. God. Whatever. First off, we got to understand that, okay, if somebody's making a claim that the local marketing industry is saturated, what do they mean by that? What does oversaturated mean? There's a lot of players in the industry. All right, let's look at some history. What happens when there's a lot of player in the industry? Consolidation happens. And it's not always the biggest companies that consolidate. Look at the automobile manufacturing industry and what happened with that. I mean, yeah, Ford got really big. Yeah, Chrysler got really big, but there was a lot of bigger companies around when they started. There's over 2,000 automobile manufacturers in the United States. We got down to 3. A little more than 3 now. But we got down to 3 in the U.S. because of all the consolidation and whatnot. You also want to consider items like, all right, okay, let's look at it from Google's perspective. Do you think that of all the businesses in the United States and all the marketing budgets that exist on the United States, do you think it's all being thrown into the internet today? Because if it was, Google would not be doing what they're doing, some of the stuff that we talk about in terms of education and trying to get people on board. The industry might be a little saturated in terms of supply today, but that's also because demand is still not even where it needs to be. Every business, every local business, in my opinion, has to have some form of internet marketing. And a lot of businesses don't. People just are not educated on it and they don't understand it. And so what? Even if it is saturated, so what? I mean, we just won a contract last week from a local chiropractor, and we were competing up against the local newspaper that offered SEO, and they were offering it for $400 or $500 a month. Our services, we proposed $1,500 a month. We won. We won the contract because We show the customer that we offer greater value. That simple. You know, we're not just getting these people ranked #1 in Google. We do a lot of different things that vastly improve their business, and we're continually improving our services. So, Ken says, will we have the topics beforehand next week? I don't know what you mean, Ken, but no. Sometimes when I put the call together, I'll go and just post some bullet points into the forum. That's not typically a part of the process. Is this something that you feel you would get greater value from, or is this something that you would want? Curlin's asking, how do you approach clients without looking like an amateur? Do I need a, what do you mean by bus, B-U-S-S? Well, Curlin, first off, every business starts out with 0 clients. So every successful marketing agency has been where you've been. Okay? Understand that. Number 2, think of earning the right to certain prospects. If you remember what we talked about today, you were going to go out and visit 20 different businesses, and your objective of those 20 businesses, your only objective when you go and visit them, was not to talk about internet marketing. You can't, because you don't know anything about their business yet, right? Not to get a signed contract, not to get a check. Your only objective was to secure a future an appointment. Now, once you've got those appointments and then you come back for that 15-minute, we call that our online assessment. And when we go through the online assessment, it's a simple process. It's a 1, 2, 3 step process. Create pain, agitate that pain, provide relief. Now, what I mean about creating pain with somebody is when you're sitting down with a prospect is identifying to them what we call pain points. We start asking them a variety of different questions about their business. Would they like to, typically the pain that we would solve is, I don't have enough sales, I don't have enough clients, my retention is low. You're trying to hear those types of points. And then you agitate that wound. Once you've developed the pain and get them to say, hey, I need more business. I am hurting. I need more business. You then agitate that wound. Now, going back to step 1, to create the pain that they want more business, we utilize ranking reports. We show them that they're not ranking #1. We show them they have competitors. Now that they know that they're hurting a little bit, that they know they need more customers and they're missing out on a lot of different business on the internet, we then agitate that wound. We throw some salt onto that wound. And we show them a W3C compliancy report. Or we show them an on-the-page SEO report. And that fuels them. They go, oh, now I'm frustrated. But at the same time that you're agitating the wound, they're realizing, wait a minute, there's things that I can do to make this better. And that's providing the relief. When you sit down and you say, okay, here's the plan. This is what we're going to do. A, B, and C. Month 1, we're going to do this. Month 2, we're going to do this. Month 3, these are your expectations. Then you throw them down with a cost. And you say, with this cost, I understand your business, and I have to get you a return on investment, or you fire me. Curlin, I suggest you go and watch the sales video content and go and watch the SEO sales trail and the webinar for it, and that will help you out with confidence.
I'm sorry. What was your name again?
Business card.
Jason, listen, I got a meeting starting right in about 2 minutes, so can I give you a call back, or can you give me a call back in a couple hours?
Curlin is saying, sorry, do I need a business card, address of business, and some kind of website before approaching prospects? No, you don't need any of that. Does it help? Yes. No, you don't need it. You're starting out. It's okay. It's okay to tell them that you're starting out. Remember what we talked about. You've successfully made it through undergraduate school. You're currently pursuing your master's of business. You have multiple years experience and successes in the military. What does that demonstrate about you as an individual? And mark my words on this, one of the biggest factors to influence an individual is hope. Human beings are built on hope. So when you talk about what you can do for them, how you can bring them more clients, and they're going to have more time to spend with their family and more time to work on their business rather than in their business. You're giving them freedom to do what they're passionate about. That's what they went into school for. They didn't aspire to be an entrepreneur or a marketer. They just wanted their own business to service their service or what they do. Nick says, Scott, I'm in the process of signing a new client. He's a developer, and one thing he wants to do is to be able to share info about his past accomplishments, projects with potential investors and partners, etc. I'm thinking this might be best tackled with a combination of info on his website and on his LinkedIn profile. Any thoughts? Okay. Just rereading it. All right, Nick. Let's obviously your website's important because those are accomplishments of the owner and accomplishments of the business. The best place on the website is either going to be a blog or a news section if you want to create it. Unquestionably, that stuff needs to be on the internet. Now, when you say share it at LinkedIn, well, let's take LinkedIn out of the equation and let's talk social. When we talk social, what we do is we propagate content. Social media is not a place to house content. It's only a place, most effective, to propagate content. So provided that you've got followers on your social networks, yes, your content should be propagated through the social channels. But what I would do is I would create, rather than a blog, is I would create either a news and events section or label it accomplishments, business accomplishments, or something of that nature, and have a static page on your website. Ken's. Okay. He just said, yeah, that would be good to prepare with. Okay, well, we'll keep an eye out, Ken, because I typically don't finalize the itinerary until about 30 minutes before the call. I spend my Wednesday mornings finalizing my research if I hadn't researched much all week and do what I need to do. So keep an eye on the Facebook group because I'll usually post it within an hour before the call, though. Be professional. Developer that builds hotels, yeah. Ken, you can always post questions into the Facebook group too. And I'll answer them both here in the Facebook group. Typically you get longer-winded answers here though. Any more questions, guys? All right. Well, this is going to come to the end of our call, and I will talk to you guys next week. All right. Bye for now.
Well, thanks for watching the Local Marketing Industry Update. We've got these things coming out every single week, so if you liked with what you heard, just click the button right above me right here to subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to get a little bit more, right over here, go check out localmarketingsource.com. We've got free reports that you can grab. You can even register for a free marketing course to get in and see the portal. Or just go ahead and follow us on some of the social channels. We'll be around. Until next time.